my lovelies, it is time for another round of Have I Read It? So stay tuned. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. Have I Read It is one of my multiple TBR games that I play in order to help pick my TBR for the upcoming month. And the way this one works is you get to help pick my TBR. So I react to a haul from over 3 years ago, and I tell you if I've read the book, if I haven't read the book, or if I've unhauled the book. And out of all the books from that haul that I still own that I have not read, you get to vote on which book or books you want me to read in the upcoming month. And based on that, the number of those books will determine how many I have to pick. So if I have 1 through 9 unread, then I have to pick the number 1 voted book. If I have 10 to 19, I have to pick the top 2 voted books, and so on and so on. So today we're going to be reacting to my book haul for December 2020, and that is a large stack of books. Oh my goodness. Like, I can see that I'm sitting on the floor and the stack of books is taller than me. So I'm guessing there's like at least 40, maybe 50 books there. I'm nervous. Okay, so I have my earbuds plugged in. I've got my video pulled up, so let's get started. Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have my December book haul for you, so stay tuned. So I have accumulated 36 books in the month of December, and I have this leaning tower of books. It's going to collapse on me at any moment. So I think I'm going to split up this pile into 2 piles, and then we'll get into the haul, because I don't want them falling on my head because they go way up here. Okay, that's much more doable. So as I said, I accumulated 36 books. I've got them from online, I've got them from subscription boxes, I got them from giveaways, from gifts, from retail, like brick and mortar stores. Yeah. I got a lot in December. So let's just jump right in. The first 2 books I have here are the second and third books in a series. That is Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising. I feel like I've read them. I do feel like I've read them. I feel like Marty and I read them together, but I'm going to double check. I did read them and I do still own them. Okay. All right, let's get back to the video. Next up. The next 2 books are another second and third in a trilogy, I believe it is. And that is A Sprinkle of Spirits and A Mixture of Mischief by Anna Mariano. I feel like I read these as well. I don't know if I still own them or not. Okay, so it looks like I read book 1 and book 2, but A Mixture of Mischief I have not read. Also, I do still own the others. Okay, so let me click on the first book, which is A Dash of Trouble, so I can tell you about that, since I don't want to spoil anything. This is middle grade. It says, Lenora Lagranio's family owns the most beloved bakery in Ross Hill, Texas, spending their days conjuring delicious cookies and cakes for any occasion. And no occasion is more important than the annual Dia de los Muertos festival. Leo hopes that this might be the year that she gets to help prepare for the big celebration, but once again she's told she's too young. Sneaking out of school and down to the bakery, she discovers that her mother, aunt, and 4 older sisters have been in fact keeping a big secret. They're brujas, witches of Mexican ancestry, who pour a little bit of sweet magic into everything that they bake. Leo knows that she has magical ability as well and is more determined than ever to join the family business, even if she can't let her mama and Hermanas know about it yet. And when her best friend Caroline has a problem that needs solving, Leo has the perfect opportunity to try out her craft. It's just one little spell after all. What could possibly go wrong? And oh my goodness, do things go wrong a lot. So if you want me to read this, vote A Mixture of Mischief. All right, next up. Okay, next up is To Best the Boys by Mary Weber. I don't know if I've read this or if I still even own it. Okay, so I do still own this one, and I have not read it. This says, the task is simple. Don a disguise, survive the labyrinth, best the boys. In a thrilling new fantasy from best-selling author of the Storm Siren trilogy, one girl makes a stand against society and enters a world made exclusively for boys. Every year for the past 54 years, the residents of Pinsbury Port have received a mysterious letter inviting all eligible aged boys to compete for an esteemed scholarship to the all-male Stemwick University. The poorer residents look to see if their names are on the list. The wealthier look to see how likely their sons are to survive. And Wren Teller opens it to see if she can derive which substances the ink and parchment are created from using her father's microscope. In the province of Calden, where women train in wifely duties and men pursue collegiate education, 16-year-old Wren Teller wants nothing more than to become a scientist. As the poor of her seaside town fall prey to a deadly disease, she and her father work desperately to find a cure. But when her mom succumbs to it as well, Wren decides to take the future into her own hands through the annual all-male scholarship competition. With her cousin Selene by her side, the girls don disguises and enter Mr. Holmes' labyrinth to best the boys and claim the scholarship prize. Except not everyone is ready for a girl who doesn't know her place, and not everyone survives the deadly maze. Welcome to the labyrinth. So if you want me to read this, vote To Best the Boys. All right, next up. Okay, next up is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. I don't think I have read My Dark Vanessa, but I'm pretty sure I still own it. I do still own it, and I have not read it. This says, exploring the psychological dynamics of the relationship between a precocious yet naive teenage girl and her magnetic and manipulative teacher, a brilliant, all-consuming read that marks the explosive debut of an extraordinary new writer. 2000. Bright, ambitious, and yearning for adulthood, 15-year-old Vanessa Y. becomes entangled in an affair with Jacob Strain, her magnetic and guileful 42-year-old English teacher. 2017. Amid the rising wave of allegations against powerful men, a reckoning is coming due. Strain has been accused of sexual abuse by a former student who reaches out to Vanessa, and now Vanessa suddenly finds herself facing an impossible choice. Remain silent, firm in the belief that her teenage self willingly engaged in this relationship, or redefine herself and the events of her past. But how can Vanessa reject her first love, the man who fundamentally transformed her and has been a persistent presence in her life? Is it possible that the man she loved as a teenager and who professed to worship only her may be far different than what she always believed? Alternating between Vanessa's present and her past, My Dark Vanessa just juxtaposes memory and trauma with the breathless excitement of a teenage girl discovering the power of her own body can wield. Thought-provoking and impossible to put down, this is a masterful portrayal of troubled adolescence and the repercussions that raises vital questions about agency, consent, complicity, and victimhood. Written with the haunting intimacy of the girls and the creeping intensity of Room, My Dark Vanessa is an era-defining novel that brilliantly captures and reflects the shifting cultural mores transforming our relationships and society itself. So if you want me to read this, vote My Dark Vanessa. All right, let's see what's next. Okay. Next up is a graphic novel that I did hear quite a bit about before, but I haven't really heard much about it in a while, and I was able to get it on sale. And that is Anya's Ghost by Vera Brosgol. I do believe I've read Anya's Ghost. I don't know if I unhauled it or not. No, I still own it. All right, next up. Next up, we have Once and Future King by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. I don't know about this one. I unhauled that one. All right, next up. Next up, I have Rain and Delilah's Midnight Matinee by Jeff Zettner. I do believe I still own this. I don't think I've read it. That is correct. This says, a contemporary novel about two best friends who must make tough decisions about their futures and the TV show they host in their senior year of high school. Every Friday night, best friends Delia and Josie become Rain Ravenscroft and Delilah Darkwood, hosts of the campy creature feature show Midnight Matinee on the local cable station TV 6. But with the end of their senior year quickly approaching, the girls face tough decisions about their futures. Josie has been dreading graduation as she tries to decide whether to leave for a big university and chase her dream career in mainstream TV, and Lawson, one of the show's guest performers, a talented MMA fighter with weaknesses for pancakes, fantasy novels, and Josie, is making her tough decision even harder. Scary movies are the last connection Delia has to her dad, who abandoned the family years ago. If Midnight Matinee becomes a hit, maybe he'll see it and want to become part of her life again, and maybe Josie will stay with the show instead of leaving her behind too. As the tug-of-war between growing up and growing apart tests the bonds of their friendship, Josie and Delia start to realize that an uncertain future can be both monstrous and momentous. So if you want me to read this, vote Rain and Delilah's Midnight Matinee. All right, next up. Okay, next up we have An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. I'm pretty sure I still own this and I haven't read it. That is correct. This says, in this much anticipated debut novel, Hank Green, co-creator of Crash Course, Vlogbrothers, and SciShow, spins a sweeping cinematic tale about a young woman who becomes an overnight celebrity before realizing she's part of something bigger and stranger than anyone could have possibly imagined. The Carls just appeared. Coming home from work at 3 a.m., 23-year-old April May stumbles across a giant sculpture. Delighted by its appearance and craftsmanship, like a 10-foot-tall transformer wearing a suit of samurai armor, April and her friend Andy make a video with it, which Andy uploads to YouTube. The next day, April wakes up to a viral video and a new life. News quickly spreads that there are Carls in dozens of cities around the world, everywhere from Beijing to Buenos Aires, and April, as their first documentarian, finds herself at the center of an intense international media spotlight. Now April has to deal with the pressure on her relationships, her identity, and her safety that this new position brings, all while being on the front lines of the quest to find out not just what the Carls are, but what they want from us. Compulsively entertaining and powerfully relevant, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing grapples with big themes, including how the social internet is changing fame, rhetoric, and radicalization, how our culture deals with fear and uncertainty, and how vilification and adoration spring from the same dehumanization that follows a life in the public eye. So if you want me to read this, vote An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. All right, next up. This other one is one that I don't think I had actually heard of, and I just kind of came across it in the Books A Million, like on their bargain table, and this was $5.97. It is Blended by Sharon M. Draper. I have read and still own Blended. Next. Next up is I Will Always Write Back, How One Letter Changed Two Lives by Caitlin Alfarica, Martin Gonda, and Liz Welch. I'm not sure if I still own this one or not. I think I do. I do still own it. I have not read it. This says, the true story of an all-American girl and a boy from an impoverished city in Zimbabwe, and the letter that changed both of their lives forever. It started as an assignment. Everyone in Caitlin's class wrote to an unknown student somewhere in a distant place. All the other kids picked countries like France or Germany, but when Caitlin saw Zimbabwe written on the board, it sounded like the most exotic place she'd ever heard of, so she chose it. Martin was lucky to even receive a pen pal letter. There were only 10 letters and 40 kids in his class, but he was the top student, so he got the first one. That letter was the beginning of a correspondence that spanned 6 years and changed 2 lives. In this compelling dual memoir, Caitlin and Martin recount how they became best friends and better people through letters. Their story will inspire readers to look beyond their own lives and wonder about the world at large and their place in it. So if you want me to read this, vote, I will always write back. All right, we've got 6 books now, and we're only about a third of the way through. Next up. Next up is another one that I hadn't heard of, but it has like awards all over it. It's a Newbery Honor book, a Nonviolent Social Change, Coretta Scott King Award, and William C. Morris Debut Award finalist. And that is Genesis Begins Again by Alicia D. Williams. I don't know. I'm guessing I still own it, but I don't think I've read it. Okay, I do still own it, and I have not read it. I mentioned in that haul that it had awards all over it. It's gotten quite a few awards. It says a Newbery Honor book, winner of the Coretta Scott King John Steptoe for New Talent Author Award, a Morris Award finalist, an NPR Favorite Book of 2019, a School Library Journal Best Middle Grade Book of 2019, a Kirkus Reviews Best Middle Grade Book of 2019. This deeply sensitive and powerful debut novel tells the story of a 13-year-old who must overcome internalized racism and a verbally abusive family to finally learn to love herself. There are 96 things Genesis hates about herself. She knows the exact number because she keeps a list. Like number 95, because her skin is so dark, people call her charcoal and eggplant, even her own family. And number 61, because her family is always being put out of their house, belongings laid out on the sidewalk for the world to see. When your dad is a gambling addict and loses the rent money every month, eviction is a regular occurrence. What's not so regular is that this time they all don't have a place to crash, so Genesis and her mom have to stay with her grandma. It's not that Genesis doesn't like her grandma, but she and mom always fight. Grandma haranguing mom to leave dad, that she should have gone back to school, that if she'd married a lighter-skinned man, none of this would be happening, and on and on and on. But things aren't all bad. Genesis actually likes her new school. She's made a couple of friends. Her choir teacher says she has real talent, and she even encourages Genesis to join the talent show. But how can Genesis believe anything her teacher says when her dad tells her the exact opposite? How can she stand up in front of all those people with her dark, dark skin, knowing even her own family thinks less of her because of it? Why won't the lemon or yogurt or fancy creams lighten her skin like they're supposed to? And when Genesis reaches number 100 on the list of things she hates about herself, will she continue on, or can she find the strength to begin again? So if you want me to read this, vote Genesis Begins Again. All right, next up. And continuing with those emotional reads, next up we have How to Make Friends with the Dark by Kathleen Glasgow. I feel like I have read this one. I'm going to check. I have read it, and I do still own it. All right, next up. And then we have, it's another book that's part of a series. This is the 3rd book in this series, and it's The Magic Misfits, the minor 3rd, and this is by Neil Patrick Harris. I've read some of The Magic Misfits. I don't know if I've read the 3rd one or not. Okay, so I own at least 3 of them. I don't know if there's more than 3 in the series. Let me look and see. Okay, apparently there are 4 in the series, and I own the first 3. And I gave books 1 and 2 both 5 stars. I have not, however, read the 3rd one. So let me tell you about the first one, but you'll vote for the 3rd. This says, when Magic Street magician Carter runs away, he never expects to find friends and magic in a sleepy New England town. But like any good trick, things change instantly as greedy B.B. Basso and his crew of crooked carnies arrive to steal anything and everything they can get their sticky fingers on. After a fateful encounter with a local purveyor of illusion, Dante Vernon, Carter teams up with 5 other like-minded illusionists. Together, using both teamwork and magic, they'll set out to save the town of Mineral Wells from Basso's villainous clutches. These 6 magic misfits will soon discover adventure, friendship, and their own self-worth in this delightful new series. So if you want me to continue on in the series, vote the minor third. All right, next up. And next up, I think this is no, not the last one. Next we have I'll Never Tell by Abigail Haas. I'm not sure. Okay, I do still own this, and I have not read it. This says, in the tradition of the New York Times bestseller, One of Us is Lying, comes a page-turning crime novel with a shocking twist inspired by the Amanda Knox and Natalie Holloway cases. Friends for life or death. Spring break, Aruba. Swimming, sunshine, and golden beaches. It was supposed to be the best time of Anna's life. Paradise. But then the unthinkable happens. Anna's best friend is found brutally murdered. And as the local police begin to investigate the gruesome crime, suspicion and evidence point to one person, Anna. Now trapped in a country not her own, Anna must fight for her freedom and prove her innocence. As she awaits the judge's decision, it becomes clear that everyone around her thinks she's not only guilty, but dangerous. Very dangerous. And when the truth finally comes out, it's more shocking than anyone could have ever imagined. So if you want me to read this, vote I'll Never Tell. I'll Never Tell. Okay, we are 9 books in. So one more book, and I'll have to read at least the top 2. Though we're not even halfway through this video, so. All right, next up. Continuing with the Books A Million books, we have The Crooked Sixpence by Jennifer Bell. I don't know if I still have this or not. Okay, so I do still own this and have not read it. This says, anyone with a Hogwarts-shaped hole in their lives can't miss this fantasy series opener. Dive into a secret underground city below London where ordinary objects are capable of extraordinary magic. Welcome to a world where nothing is quite as it seems. When their grandmother Sylvie is rushed to the hospital, Ivy Sparrow and her annoying big brother Seb cannot imagine what adventures lie in store. Soon their house is ransacked by unknown intruders, and a very strange policeman turns up on the scene determined to apprehend them with a toilet brush. Ivy and Seb make their escape only to find themselves in a completely uncommon world, a secret underground city called Londonor, where ordinary objects have amazing powers. There are belts that enable the wearer to fly, yo-yos that turn into weapons, buttons with healing properties, and other enchanted objects capable of very unusual feats. But the forces of evil are closing in fast, and when Ivy and Seb learn that their family is connected to one of the greatest uncommon treasures of all time, they must race to unearth the treasure and get to the bottom of a family secret before it's too late. Debut novelist Jennifer Bell delivers a world of wonder and whimsy in the start of a richly uncommon series. So if you want me to read this, vote The Crooked Sixpence. And that pushed us over the limit for only having to read 1. Now we have to read at least the top 2. Continuing on. Next up are 2 books from the same author. First we have Permanent Record, and then we also have Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. I feel like I haven't read either of those, but I feel like I might still own both of those. Let me check. I'll check Permanent Record first, because these are not part of a series, I don't think. Okay, I actually unhauled Permanent Record, but I do still own and have not read Emergency Contact. This says, from debut author Mary H.K. Choi comes a compulsively readable novel that shows young love in all its awkward glory, perfect for fans of Eleanor and Park and To All the Boys I've Loved Before. For Penny Lee, high school was a total non-event. Her friends were okay, her grades were fine, and while she'd somehow landed a boyfriend, they never managed to know much about each other. Now Penny is heading to college in Austin, Texas, to learn how to become a writer. It's 79 miles and a zillion light years away from everything she can't wait to leave behind. Sam's stuck, literally, figuratively, emotionally, financially. He works at a cafe and sleeps there too, on a mattress on the floor of an empty storage room upstairs. He knows that this is the god-awful chapter of his life that will serve as inspiration for when he's a famous movie director. But right this second, the $17 in his checking account and his dying laptop are really testing him. When Sam and Penny cross paths, it's less meet cute and more of a collision of unbearable awkwardness. Still, they swap numbers and stay in touch via text and soon become digitally inseparable, sharing their deepest anxieties and secret dreams without the humiliating weirdness of having to, see each other. So if you want me to read this, vote emergency contact. All right, next up. Okay, so that was the last of the Books A Million books. Next, I found this book at the Dollar General. I actually went in there looking for New Year's Eve stuff and ended up not getting any New Year's Eve stuff, but I did get 50% off Christmas stuff and a book. I got Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. I don't know if I've read this one. I mean, actually, I don't think I've read this one. I don't know if I still own this one. Okay, I do still own it. And I have not read it. This says, when 15-year-old B claims a family trip to Antarctica as a reward for perfect grades, her fiercely intelligent but agoraphobic mother, Bernadette, throws herself into the preparations. Worn down by years of trying to live the Seattle life she never wanted, Bernadette is on the brink of a meltdown. As disaster follows disaster, she disappears, leaving the family to pick up the pieces, which is exactly what B does, weaving together emails, invoices, and school memos to reveal the secret past that Bernadette has been hiding for decades. Where'd You Go, Bernadette is an ingeniously entertaining novel about a family coming to terms with who they are and the power of a daughter's love for her imperfect mother. So if you want me to read this, vote Where'd You Go, Bernadette. Can I have a few that I have read, please? We are at the halfway point, so that'd be nice. All right, next up. And then at Ollie's, I went there a few times and they hadn't refreshed their stuff and got a bunch of new things. So most of what they had in there, I've already gotten. But I did pick up Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart for $2.99. I feel like I have unhauled that. Let me double check. Yes, that one is unhauled. All right, next up. And then the next book is one that I got from McKay's, and I've heard Chelsea over at Chelsea Darling Reads talk about this book many, many times, and I happened to come across it. I took my mom to McKay's because she wanted to trade in books and stuff, and while we were walking around looking for her stuff, I saw this and I picked it up, and that is Landline by Rainbow Rowell. I feel like I have not read that. I feel like I still own it though. No, actually I unhauled that. All right, next up. Those are all of the books that I bought. The rest of these books came in subscription boxes, or they were from giveaways, or publishers sent them to me, or they were gifts. So these first ones were subscription boxes. So this one came as sort of an extra book in my Books That Matter subscription box, and that is No One Is Too Small to Make a Difference by Greta Thunberg. I have read and unhauled that. Next. And the main book that came along with that is The Inland Sea by Madeline Watts. I'm not sure if I still have this. I feel like I unhauled it. I did unhaul it. All right, next up. And this next book came in my next Books That Matter box. They both ended up showing up in the same month. And that is Delayed Rays of a Star by Amanda Lee Coe. I feel like I've unhauled this one as well. Okay, it looks like I still own this one and I have not read it. This says Amanda Lee Coe's Delayed Rays of a Star, following the lives of Hollywood icon Marlene Dietrich, Chinese-American star Anna May Wong, and infamous German director Leni Riefenstahl, across the 20th century, exploring questions of ego, art, sex, and performance. So if you want me to read this, vote Delayed Rays of a Star. All right, next up. And that one also came with sort of a bonus. Not a novel, but it's Create a Life You Love This Year. Goodbye 2020, Hello 2021, a reflective journal. I'm not going to count this one at all because it's a journal. So, yeah. Next. Next up are books that came in Owl Crate Junior boxes. First one we have is A Clock of Stars, The Shadow Moth by Francesca Gibbons, illustrated by Chris Rydell. I feel like I did read A Clock of Stars, so I'm going to double check. Okay, I guess I'm thinking of a different book. I do own and still have not read this. Okay, A Clock of Stars is the name of the series. The book is called The Shadow Moth. This says, with all the magic of Narnia and the humor of Mary Poppins, this is a future middle grade classic or fantasy classic and the beginning of an unforgettable journey. Imogen should be nice to her little sister, Marie. She should be nice to her mom's boyfriend, too. And she certainly shouldn't follow a strange silver moth through a door in a tree. But then, who does what they're told? Followed by Marie, Imogen finds herself falling into a magical kingdom where the two sisters are swept up in a thrilling race against time, helped by the spoiled prince of the kingdom, a dancing bear, a very grumpy hunter, and even the stars above them. Thrilling, sharply funny, and with the characters you'll fall in love with, A Clock of Stars is a timeless fantasy from an astonishing new voice. So if you want me to read this, vote The Shadow Moth. Okay, I am sorry if the angle changed. When I hit stop record, my screen on my camera actually went black. And so I checked and the video glitched. And it's not an MP4. It's like an RSV file. So I'm hoping that Marty can work his magic and recover the whole first chunk of this video. Then I don't have to refilm it. I'll tell you somewhere on the screen if he was able to recover it or if I had to redo this whole thing over again. I'm really hoping I don't have to because this is taking a really long time. Okay. All right. Let's continue on. And then I also have the Owl Crate Junior Special Edition box. I got the Hollow Pox box. The Hunt for Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. Yeah, I have read Hollow Pox and I still own it. All right. Next up. Next up we have Cinders and Sparrows by Stefan Bachman. I'm not sure. I feel like maybe I've read it, but I'm not certain. No, I haven't read it, but I do still own it. This says, when a scarecrow climbs over the garden wall, delivering 12-year-old orphan Zeta Bridgeborn a letter saying she has inherited a distant castle, she jumps at the chance of adventure. But little does she know that she's about to be thrust into a centuries-old battle between good and evil. Blackbird Castle was once home to a powerful dynasty of witches, all of them now dead under mysterious circumstances. Zeta is the last of her line, and Zeta, unfortunately, doesn't know the first thing about being a witch. As she begins her lessons in charms and spells with her guardian, Miss Cantanker, Zeta makes new allies, a crow, a talking marblehead, 2 castle servants just her age named Bram and Minifer, and the silent ghost of a green-eyed girl. But who is friend and who is foe? Zeta must race to untangle her past and find the magic to save the home she's always hoped for, because whatever claimed the souls of her family is now after her. So if you want me to read this, vote Cinders and Sparrows. Okay, that puts us at 15 that I have not read. All right, next up. In one of those owl crates, we got an extra book, and that was Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I have read Howl's Moving Castle. And I think I still own it. Yes. Let me double check. Yes, I do. All right, next up. So those are all of the books from subscription boxes. Next up, I have a book that was, I think, just sent to me by the publisher. I checked my email to see if it was something that I had won from like Goodreads or whatever, but couldn't find anything. And this is called Real by Carol Kujak and Peyton Goddard. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I do still have that. It's on the shelf in here. So let me pull it up here. So I do still own it. I have not read it. This says, my name is Charity. I am 13 years old. Actually, 13 years plus 87 days. I love sour gummies and pepperoni pizza. That last part no one knows because I have not spoken a sentence since I was born. Each dawning day, I live in terror of my unprecedented body that no one understands. Charity may have mad math skills and a near-perfect memory, but with a mouth that can't speak and a body that jumps rocks and howls unpredictably, most people incorrectly assume she cannot learn. Charity's brain works differently from most people's because of her autism, but she's still funny, determined, and kind. So why do people treat her like a disease or ignore her like she's invisible? When Charity's parents enroll her in a public junior high school, she faces her greatest fears. Will kids make fun of her? Will her behavior get her kicked out? Will her million thoughts stay locked in her head forever? With the support of teachers and newfound friends, Charity will have to fight to be treated like a real student. Inspired by a true story, Real speaks to all those who've ever felt they didn't belong and reminds readers that all people are worthy of being included. So if you want me to read this, vote Real. All right, next up. Next up is a book that I won from, I think it's a Riveted giveaway. It was hosted by Riveted, I think, Simon Teen. And I want to say it was one of the Comic-Cons or something, but it was all virtual. And I won The Loop by Jeremy Robert Johnson. Let me check. I unhauled The Loop. All right. Next up. Also in that giveaway, I won The Beast and the Bethany by Jack Miggott Phillips, illustrated by Isabella Fuloff. I don't know about The Beast and the Bethany. Okay, I do still own this one, and I have not read it. This says, the most exciting new children's book of 2020 and a modern classic in the making. The Beast and the Bethany has all the classic macabre humor of Roald Dahl, with the warmth and charm of Despicable Me, finished off with a gleeful bite of Little Shop of Horrors. This book should be on every little monster's birthday and Christmas list. Ebenezer Tweezer is a youthful 511-year-old. He keeps a beast in the attic of his mansion, who he feeds all manner of things, including performing monkeys, his pet cat, and the occasional cactus. And in return, the beast vomits out presents for Ebenezer, as well as potions which keep him young and beautiful. But the beast grows ever greedier, and soon only a nice, juicy child will do. So when Ebenezer encounters orphan Bethany, it seems like everlasting life will go on as normal. But Bethany is not your average orphan. So if you want me to read this, vote The Beast and the Bethany. All right, next up. Next is a giveaway that I actually won from the author on her Instagram, and that is All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban. I feel like I do still own this and have not read it, but I'm going to double check. That is correct. This says, this thrilling debut, reminiscent of new fan favorites like One of Us is Lying and the beloved classics by Agatha Christie, will leave readers guessing until the explosive ending. Welcome to dinner, and again, congratulations on being selected. Now you must do the selecting. What do the queen bee, star athlete, valedictorian, stoner, loner, and music geek all have in common? They were all invited to a scholarship dinner, only to discover it's a trap. Someone has locked them in a room with a bomb, a syringe filled with poison, and a note saying they have an hour to pick someone to kill, or else everyone dies. Amber Prescott is determined to get her classmates and herself out of the room alive, but that might be easier said than done. No one knows how they're all connected or who would want them dead. As they retrace the events over the past year that might have triggered their captor's ultimatum, it becomes clear that everyone is hiding something, and with the clock ticking down, confusion turns into fear, and fear morphs into panic as they race to answer the biggest question. Who will they choose to die? So if you want me to read this, vote All Your Twisted Secrets. We're up to 18 books. We're getting real close to having to pick the top 3. All right, next up. Okay, the last 2 books I have here are books that were oh so incredibly kindly gifted to me as like a Christmas gift. So the first one is from Robin Christian Jones, aka at Saturn Dew on Litsy, which I have since downloaded this app since learning about it from her little note. But she sent me Every Last Word by Tamara Ireland Stone. I'm pretty sure I have read and still own this, but I'm going to double check. Okay, I was wrong. I do still own it, but I have not read it. This says, if you could read my mind, you wouldn't be smiling. Samantha McAllister looks just like the rest of the popular girls in her junior class, but hidden beneath the straightened hair and expertly applied makeup is a secret that her friends would never understand. Sam has purely obsessional OCD and is consumed by a stream of dark thoughts and worries that she can't turn off. Second-guessing every move, thought, and word makes daily life a struggle, and it doesn't help that her lifelong friends will turn toxic at the first sign of a wrong outfit, wrong lunch, or wrong crush. Yet Sam knows she'd be truly crazy to leave the protection of the most popular girls in school. So when Sam meets Caroline, she has to keep her new friend with a refreshing sense of humor and no style a secret, right up there with Sam's weekly visits to her psychiatrist. Caroline introduces Sam to Poet's Corner, a hidden room and a tight-knit group of misfits who have been ignored by the school at large. Sam is drawn to them immediately, especially the guitar-playing guy with a talent for verse, and starts to discover a whole new side of herself. Slowly she begins to feel more normal than she ever has as part of the popular crowd, until she finds a new reason to question her sanity and all she holds dear. So if you want me to read this, vote Every Last Word. Oh my goodness, it all comes down to this last book because I have 19 here and there's only one book left. So if I've read it, then I only have to pick the top 2 voted books. Or if I've unhauled it, same thing. But if I haven't, then I'm going to have to pick the top 3. So let's see what my fate is. And then last but not least, my dear sweet friend and co-host now to Season-a-thon, Kaylani, sent me Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I have read. Whew. I'm glad that it wasn't the second book in the series because I haven't read that one. But I have read Crescent City, like the first book. Yay. And I still own it. Whoo-wee, that was close. Okay, so you have quite a bit to choose from. You can vote for as many books as you like, but I will only be picking the top 2 voted books. Thankfully. Okay, so you can vote for A Mixture of Mischief, To Best the Boys, My Dark Vanessa, Rain and Delilah's Midnight Matinee, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, I Will Always Write Back, Genesis Begins Again, The Minor Third, I'll Never Tell, The Crooked Sixpence, Emergency Contact, Where'd You Go, Bernadette, Delayed Rays of a Star, The Shadow Moth, Cinders and Sparrows, Real, The Beast and the Bethany, All Your Twisted Secrets, or Every Last Word. So comment down below which book or books you would like me to read in the upcoming month, and I will pick the top 2 voted books. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!